everyone, my name is Flavia and today I'm going to talk about Last Days of Anesthesia, How Anesthetics Changed the World. This is a book written by Stephanie J. Snow and published in 2008 by the Oxford University Press. The book looks intriguing even at first glance because of its sort of surname, who for the most knowledgeable in the history of medicine sounds familiar. As a matter of fact, Stephanie J. Snow is a descendant of John Snow, who is now thought to be one of the most important personalities in the history of medicine, not only because of its great discoveries in the context of pain and its physiology, but also for its brilliant medical insight in detecting Broad Street infected water pumps as the main source of the spread of cholera in London 1854. The volume ranges between the applications and the personalities of anesthesiology and the effect it has had from the mid-19th century to the present day. The concept of pain is addressed in each chapter from every angle, with detail in chapter 7, in which Stephanie J. Snow gives us an exhaustive portrait of how actually pain was perceived during the Victorian age. The Catholic Church and its devotees identify pain as something natural and necessary in order to gain God's redemption from their sins. From a medical point of view, the most enlightened physicians affirmed that feeling extreme pain was not something necessary at all. On the contrary, it was something dangerous for neurological activity and could cause additional evils that of course wouldn't help the patients to recover. Instead, medical thought was convinced that anesthesia removed the subtle barrier between civilization and bestiality, and so between the proper and improper behavior. The author emphasizes that the majority of patients suffering from chronic disease and pain actually put their trust into John Snow's hands, and thanks to them, his name started to spread all around Europe, and ether became the new object of experiments and studies. However, despite its great initial success, especially in the dentistry field, as we know, the situations where the wrong dosage was given through the inhalator, it turned out to be an inflammable and toxic substance. At the same time, not the substance was being studied and evaluated. That was the chloroform, a substance made from sodium hypochlorite and ethanol. That was another substance to be administered by inhalation. The anesthetical benefits of chloroform were discovered by the British physician Robert Grover in 1842 while experimenting it on animals. Since its application was initially to alleviate the suffering of sepsis patients and to amputate limbs, it wasn't clear if the patient's post-operative death were due to chloroform infection or hemorrhage. So chloroform's fame started to spread all around Europe, both for its beneficial action, both for its potential risks. Charles Dubbing and Charles Dickens had the clue to overrule medical fear of childbirth anesthesia with chloroform, and thanks to their brave and emancipated wives, chloroform started to be used also in childbirth. Indeed, the author highlights in chapter 4, entitled Women's Sex and Suffering, the episode of Queen Victoria. Despite the risk due to her being the queen, Jon Snow was invited to Buckingham Palace and asked to assist the queen during her 8th birth delivery. When in labor, Her Majesty the Queen was given 0.06 milliliters of chloroform, which she made from an handkerchief, and to her amazement, she felt incredibly relaxed and free from pain. The event, of course, soon took the medical world by storm. Nevertheless, chloroform soon proved to be a dangerous tool, not because of the substance itself, but for its use in fields other than medicine. As the author explains assiduously, in criminal hands, chloroform was a highly effective tool of manipulation and control, and it was employed in sexual abuses, abductions, robberies, murders, and so on. Chloroform also became a popular self-help remedy for asthma, headache, toothache, and sleeplessness. But yeah, once again, death from overdosage were common, so people lost their trust again. At the beginning of the 20th century, even though chloroform was the riskiest anesthetic in use, it remained the most popular and easiest to administer, although ether was being reintroduced in Britain for use by specialists. Despite the two world wars having traumatized several generations, they yet also stimulated the progress of medicine, and in particular in the field of analgesia, and set the foundations for the future. Today, there are many different types of anesthetics, such as propofol, and derived opioids such as fentanyl, and other substances associated with the reversible muscle paralysis. Personally, I found the book enlightening and engaging, both for the way in which Stephanie J. Snow analyzed such an extended period of time and for how she managed brilliantly to do so in only 8 chapters. Thanks to my father's job, I have had the opportunity to learn something more about anesthesiology since I was a kid. However, retracing its history has been a surprisingly constitutive and pleasant experience. I would recommend this book to all curious people like me who enjoy discovering the origins of things and their usages. Thank you for your attention.